So the second part, we're going to cover about Ralph's life in the RAF, and also we're going to finish on cricket. So all us cricketing fans, have your questions ready at the end. So for a change, I'm going to start off by asking the first question, which is, how was life at RAF Woodall Spa? Over to Ralph.
RAF Woodall Spa. Well, I remember the first time, like many things in the RAF, you see, I was supposed to go to base 5 that consisted of Coningsby, RAF, we call Woodall Spa, but the official title was RAF Tattersall Thorpe and Metheringham. Those 3 camps were base 5. Of course, when I get on transport to Coningsby, I finished up at East Kirkley. Somebody got me on the wrong bus. So I spent a night at East Kirkley. They didn't throw me out. And I caught the train, because there was a train then, you know, from East Kirkley, somewhere there, and dropped me off at Coningsby. There's a railway station at Coningsby, which then I had to walk from Coningsby with all my pack. You who was in the service, you know that when you walk your gas mask on your thing, and walk to Coningsby.
Did you have a kit bag? Did you have a kit bag?
Oh yes,
yeah.
I heard them. All my belongings was in the kit bag,
Yeah.
and I get up to Coningsby. When I got to Coningsby, of course, they didn't want me at Coningsby, so they shifted me to Tattersall Thorpe, which is just kind of across the road, isn't it? So that's where I started at Tattersall Thorpe. So what happened to me happened to all latecomers. That's where I really feel. There were some billets right on the drone where the aircraft took off. You know, that's part of the billet billets. So if you're a newcomer, that's where you're first. And of course, there's all sorts of activities going on at night. Even when RAF is coming back, calling them kites. Even when the aircraft are out training or on a bombing raid or so on, the camp is never dead, because what would happen, you'd have kites coming from Waddington, Scampton, doing what they call circuits and bumps.
Yeah.
They just fly around, up again, fly around, so of course, you don't get much sleep.
And these are the Lancasters?
These were Lancasters, 4-engine Lancasters. There were 1 or 2 mosquitoes there at the time, but these guys generally Lancasters, 4-engine, the Merlin engines, and the Roseau Merlin engines. So, till this day, the sound of 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines being revved up to take off is here. Never forget it. Especially when they're what we call bombed up, when they're loaded, you know, with a 10-ton, what's a 10-ton bomb, and later on a fortnight, I was given this plum job of being the chauffeur to the senior armament officer. soft car, plenty of downtime, could even sleep if I wanted to while he doing work. So that's how I started out. And not only that, I was attached to what I didn't know about then, was 617 Squadron. And I don't know, in the Air Force at that time, the scheme of things in life was, there was God Almighty, there was Winston Churchill, there was Bomber Command with Bomber Harris. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Bomber Harris. And 5 Group, that was our group, and 617 Squadron. That's how the world was made of. God, Churchill, Bomber Harris, and the squadron. So that kind of pride, I belonged to them. I was in a elite, working with elite people, you see. But fortunate, I mean, I was very, very lucky to have got that job. And I was thankful to the airman there, who told me I was to smile when I talked to the sergeant who put me on the ship order. So that's where I started paying back the RAF for all the money they spent training.
And you were involved with these very big bombs, were you? These,
yeah.
These 10-ton bombs?
The tall boys.
Yeah.
The 10-ton. Then later on, we had what we call 10-ton tests. Can you remember, there was a musical lady who was rather humble, Tessie O'Shea.
Yeah.
Well, the bomb was named after Tessie O'Shea. Everybody go over your handling 10-ton tests. And the Lancaster was altered to be able to lift the 10-ton bomb. And they had to take off what we call a cowling. That's the thing that covers the bomb. You don't see the bomb on the plane, it's covered. So they had to take that off. And then because we were definitely, we had almost destroyed the Luftwaffe then, they were able to take the upper gun turret off. Because otherwise the plane couldn't take off with the bomb. So they take those off, and so now the Lancaster, and they just changed the name of the Lancaster to the Lincoln, but it's the same plane. 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, aren't they? Yes.
Did you ever see or experience scary moments in terms of Lancasters returning home, which had been shot up and were damaged? I particularly recall my Latin master at school, who was part of that.
Yes.
He had to crash land when he got back. Did you ever experience anything of those emergency situations?
Oh yes, we have quite a number. Harrowing experiences that was happening on the camp. The planes that there was one very horrible one that happened was where a plane came back was really badly damaged, and one of the air crew was trapped, and the plane was on fire, and this fireman used his axe, you know, they have an axe, a chop through things, and chopped off his legs to save his life. Yeah. Of course, he was awarded a big award because he definitely saved his life, because he was trapped in the trap and couldn't get up, and the only thing the fireman could think of was to hack off his foot and pull him out before the plane exploded. And he did, and he saved his life. we had, we never had any bombing raids on Woodall while I was there, but we had raids where they dropped have you ever heard about anti-personnel bombs? That they drop things look like pencils or watches, and they explode. It's a terrifying weapon. And one night, especially when I was sleeping on the edge room, this plane came over. Of course, long before the airplane came, the warning came over the tunnels that we are under attack. We would expect. Unfortunately for us, it wasn't a big raid. I think it could be one plane, but lost his way or something like that. But anyway, he hadn't any bomb to drop off. He dropped his bombs, but he had anti-personnel bombs, and he dropped them on the camp. And of course, we were told not to pick up anything at all that we see and avoid anything until they got sappers to come in quite quickly, and they went around with these things and pick up the anti-personnel bombs. But that's the only time we had anything like that. But before I went there, they had big raids where the Germans inaccurately bombed Woodall Spa itself, and instead of the camp, they missed the camp, and they dropped these fire bombs in Woodall Spa, and there was one great big building there that completely burned out, right in the middle of that spa. I think it's a memorial now, right in the middle of that spa. But it's just that the Germans, they did it after bombing Woodall. It was after the camp. You see, and then you sit and come down, the bombs dropped there.
Anybody any more questions?
Were there any memorable characters from training and any stories you can tell us about?
Any memorable characters from training?
On the camp?
Yes.
Well, there was one very chap officer, a warrant officer, who, well, there two, I'll give you two warrant officers. The first one was a chap called Wells, V.G. Wells. I remember him to the rest of my life. He was about 6'7" and built like Cassius Clay. But at that time, I was sure he was 9 feet tall. And he used to come, if you want anything, come to me. And he terrified me. Really. He was a massive man. And he was commanding. He had a presence. You couldn't avoid him. But he was feared. That's the thing. He was very feared. I mean, you know, you talk about color, things like that. Nobody could abuse us. If V.G. Wells is around, good God, no. He threw them in jail in two minutes. We were all frightened out. Yeah. And then there was another warrant officer who was he was about 5'7", Mr. Garlett. He's the smartest airman I ever created. His shoes was spotlessly polished, his uniform fitted in like a glove, and he walked around with one of those little sticks, what they call it?
Swagger stick. Swagger stick.
Swagger stick, yes, on his arm. And quite honestly, we used to think that the spear dogs who came on Coningsby used to stand at attention and bark sour. He was fantastic. I mean, if I was going to make a life in the RAF to serve, I would like to be like him. There's no, he used to take us in boxing. He was a boxer, and he used to come to the gym and run a boxing team. And he would take on much bigger than him, because he was that kind of a man, you know. You respected him. Officers respected him. He ran the place. You know, definitely. As I remember, years after, I went to a party at the Sergeant's Mess at RAF Waddington Palace, and he turned up. So it was they devised a scheme. So there's some Jamaican mechanics at the transport section. And what they said, if there is a car in the service, they would delay the completion of the job somehow, so that the job to the next day, if it coincides with the night when the glider drone is open. The glider drone, see? And somebody found out that there was a weakness in the defense of the drone on the Dugdike side. So the word would pass that there would be transport going to Boston if you finish up on the Dugdike road at a certain time. So the mechanic, the Jamaican mechanic who serviced the car, would leave the car as unfinished. But then he'd nip back when it's dark, drive the car through the weakness in the fence onto the Dugdike road, where you pick up the minutes, you come to the glider drone and park the car Mill Hill. Is that the Mill Hill? Then after you say good night to your girlfriends, you'll jump in the car, go back to the weakness in the defense of the drone, park the car back in the transport section, and all would be well. Next morning, they'd finish the car off, report to the sergeant, the car is finished, he expected, nobody would know anything about it. Because of course the mileometer would be taken up as well, so that there's no mile added to it. Yes, so, and that went on for quite a while. We all had cheap trips to Boston and see our girlfriends and get back to camp. Who knew about it? So this night, we parked the car up, maybe leave the driver through. When we get back, there was a lorry parked in such a way that they couldn't get the car out. So we all there, we push it there and push it there. They can't get it out. So of course, if you abandon the car, somehow they're gonna some smart detective gonna find out that something went wrong while the car is abandoned out there, you see. So we keep pushing it. Lo and behold, a Bobby, policeman come. Now, if you're in the RAF, there's a form called a 658. We give you the authority to have a service vehicle. Now, if you haven't got a 658, the RAF charge you with stealing petrol. You see, so that's not a case that tried by the RAF people who will be easy with you. You're going to a criminal court, and if you serve the sentence, it wouldn't be done in an RAF prison. It would be done in the, because you're just a common thief, you see. So of course we all had that at the back of our mind because we know it's that kind of offense. So this policeman turned up, so. And all we're hoping he didn't say, because the policeman is quite entitled to say, where's your 658? Who's the driver of this vehicle, you know? And if you said, can I see your 658? So the word went out that if the policeman asks any of us for 658, we should just blend in the night. The policeman left on his own. He will be gone. However, the policeman helped us to move the car. So we got out the car, bid him good night. So instead of spending all night in a prison Boston, and little lock up in Boston, we all went back happily in our staff car to Coningsby. So that was the nearest brush, because they really, it's a criminal offense, you know. And we'll all be in jail for stealing petrol. Yeah? But then we're only 21 years old.
Did you ever see that policeman again?
Hmm?
Did you ever see that policeman
I
again?
wouldn't recognize him. I hope he wouldn't recognize
Is there any more questions anybody's got?
What rank were you?
Who, me? I think I finished, well, the highest rank I reached in the RAF. I don't know if any RAF person is here, ex-RAF. But I was acting corporal unpaid. And I resent the unpaid part. Yeah. Well, what happened is, see, if you drive, there's certain details in the RAF that you have to be an NCO, a non-commissioned officer, to drive. And one is a petrol thing, you know, where you fill the aircraft with petrol. And another is what we call it, the Queen Mary, that you carry big things and so on, and a petrol bowser to fill it. So for about 6 weeks, I was a corporal. Oh, I had my stripes, so, but after the 6 weeks, when they get a proper corporal to come and drive these vehicles, my stripes was taken off me and I was back down to the other ranks, you see. So that's the highest I got was a acting corporal unpaid.
So yeah, you were an SAC-1, were you?
No, it's a LAC, a leading aircraft manager.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's where I was there. The next rank up was corporal. But I got it, but they didn't pay me.
Anybody else got any more questions?
Did they ever take you on a cook's tour after the war?
No, I've heard about that, but I don't know nothing about cook store. What is cook stores?
Well, they just take you over bomb Germany in an aircraft, a cook's tour.
Oh, you mean if you, well, what we call it, and some people managed it, I never did. We call it a flip.
Flip.
Yeah, we are a grown, remember the grown crew staff managed to get on a radar or a practice run or something like that. Because you see, the Air Force encouraged that kind of relationship between the air crew and the ground crew. For instance, if you are a mechanic, aircraft mechanic, and you service an aircraft, on the practice run, you are encouraged to go on a cliff. I don't think they like you very much why they say that. But if you know that you are likely to go on it, you make them sure that the work you do is appropriate, isn't it? So they encourage you. You know, if you're an aircraft make and they go and you service the daily service, you can get a
car park running.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can get a what they call a pig. You get a fire. Yes.
Okay, any more questions?
Well, actually, you did say you talked a little about the relationship between yourself and the aircrew. Did you go out together and stuff off the base?
Well, I would say we meet, but if you understand the British military and the RAF was the easiest of the military. Most of the crew of the squadron that 617 squadron were officers are very senior NCOs like warrant officers or flight sergeants. And let's don't declare that we don't actually socialize. Or on a cricket, we socialize in a cricket field or a football and sports. Officers play with airmen and stuff, but we don't really socialize.
Oh.
And everybody here in the service know that. To be an officer, a commissioned officer, it's a different way of life to being other rank. So we don't. For instance, I don't know whether it was a chargeable offense, but I don't think that an airman, they wouldn't like to know that, for instance, an RAF woman or female officer was socializing with an airman. It isn't something they would brag about. It isn't something they want to. Officers would socialize with officers because they would think that familiarity breeds contempt. But that doesn't say there wasn't real fellowship between officers and others. For instance, I played quite a lot of cricket in the RAF, and quite a lots of. I would captain the camp team person, and there would be a squadron leader, which is quite a high rank officer, who is a cricketer. And I thought I'm about. If I'm captain of the cricket team, I move him from slips to goalie, and if I'm really nasty with officers that day, I could put him out in the outfield. But that's all right, yeah, there you go. But that doesn't mean if he was getting married, or if I was getting married, it would be, I could invite him to go to my wedding. They wouldn't, it's not only in the service as a whole. There is a certain distinction between commissioned officers and other ranks. And we all knew it. The nicest, very nice social, but you wouldn't deem to think that he was going to invite him to come up to my wedding. He might, the officer, might invite me to his wedding. And it would be quite all right. But it wouldn't be up to me to invite, say, my officer in charge of, to invite him to my wedding. I don't know if you get the subtle distinction.
Oh, it's like a class system sort of thing, then, just to separate you.
Well, let's face it, the armed services is not and never was a democracy. No, it isn't a democracy. You can have, and quite rightly so. I mean, I learned from in my basic training that if my superior, whether it's an NCO operator, say do something, well, I do it because they drill into you that if you're fighting for your life and protecting, saving other people's lives, you can't stop and argue with the chap who give you the word of command.